there is Margaret Keenan as she was clapped out of the hospital yesterday. So we're joined by some of those vaccine pioneers, including 91-year-old Martin Kenyon, whose very no-nonsense, very English interview with an American CNN television reporter has been viewed more than 2.5 million times on Twitter. We're also joined by 87-year-old Dr. Harry Shukla and his wife Ranjan. They were given their jabs at the Royal Victoria Infirmary in Newcastle. And Lynn Wheeler, an 81-year-old grandmother who got her COVID-19 vaccine in front of the Prime Minister at Guy's Hospital in London. Very good morning to all of you. Lynn, what was that like? You were in the presence of the Prime Minister, who, of course, has recovered from COVID himself. And there you were getting your vaccine to make sure you don't get it.
Well, indeed, it was a surreal moment, really. He was very nice and very interested and intent in looking at everything. I was quite pleased. It didn't hurt. It was very easily done, and I haven't had any problems since either, I might add.
Well, that's good. Now, Lynn, you're 81. You're a grandmother of 4. You live in Kent.
Bromley.
In Bromley, yeah. What has the pandemic been like for you? In what sense have you had to lock down? Who have you not been able to see? How fearful have you been of the virus?
Well, all sorts of things like that. One of the main things is I did work down in my local primary school, helping children with their reading, and I haven't been able to do that. I do miss that very much. I am a bit fed up because I live by myself and I haven't been able to go out very much. And I don't like anymore feeling afraid to go on a bus, on a train, or afraid to hug anybody, afraid to go in the shops. And I'm very pleased to be part of this programme and hope that it'll be our fight back. And,
brilliant. Well, I think it's people like you are going to have a great effect on the public, actually, because I think they're all feeling the excitement.
None of us want to be afraid anymore. I mean, Lynn, you absolutely sum that up. Absolutely right. Afraid to hug people. I mean, you know, that's a terrible
Well, it goes
thought,
against every human instinct, doesn't it? I want to bring in Martin Kenyon because, Martin, I was watching CNN. I happened to be watching this live when a very fascinating interview happened where the Americans clearly had no idea what to make of you as you gave a quintessentially stiff upper lip English interview about your experience yesterday. First of all, how are you coping with the fact that you're now a global media star because of your 6-minute interview?
Well, it's rather ridiculous, isn't it? I rather hoped it was a sort of 24-hour nonsense and we've gone over, but anyway, here we are.
Well,
standing outside
we're delighted to have you, and you can rest assured we will get your jokes, because I know that some of it was tongue-in-cheek, clearly, including the...
Jokes? No, I don't make jokes, do I?
Well, I thought you made a quip about your lunch being absolutely terrible, which I think they took a bit too seriously. Do you want to explain what that was, Martin?
Yes. No, I don't know why I said that. It was delicious. It was a prawn sandwich. I don't eat sandwiches, that's the answer. And I decided in a hurry to get a sandwich and a glass of orange wine. A deeply uninteresting subject.
Now, Martin, you decided to be proactive yesterday. You heard the vaccines were being rolled out. You've been attending Guy's Hospital in London for other matters, and you thought, I'm going to pick the phone up and see if I can have the vaccine. And they said, yeah, come on in.
That's right. Well, it seemed sensible to get on with it because I have 2 delicious grandchildren and I've not been able to hug them for several weeks, months. And I'm planning to spend Christmas with them all. And I thought if I can have the vaccine, then I can hug them. Well, hug is sort of a silly word, isn't it? But they're very delightful. And by the way, my grandson was a bit upset that I described myself as having granddaughters. I don't. I have a granddaughter and a grandson.
Oh. Quite right.
Well, we could put that right.
Well, that's little Leo. He's 7, and your granddaughter's Molly 10.
Molly and Leo. What? Molly and Leo. Good. You know that already.
I do. I know a lot about you, actually, Martin, because I found you such a brilliant interviewee.
Yes, you do.
I also discovered, and this is extraordinary.
Now, who are you? Yeah, who are you?
OK, well, let's try and explain who we are.
He's
My name is Piers Morgan.
Now.
Shots fired.
Martin, my name is Piers
how'd
Morgan.
you do?
Piers Morgan.
How'd you do?
How do you do?
Yes.
It's lovely to
Well,
meet
I'm
you.
Martin Kenyon.
Yes, I know you are. That's why we're interviewing you. I discovered that you, your extraordinary background, you were involved with Archbishop Desmond Tutu at the very start of the global campaign to get rid of apartheid in South Africa.
Well, he arrived in London as a student. Totally unknown, of course, like every other student arriving from South Africa and everywhere else. And the chap who was sending him here and the religious order said, would I look out for him? And I'm 2 years older than he is, as he won't be allowed to forget. And he's not dead, by the way. He was described as the late. He's not late at all. He's very present.
But an amazing thing that you were part of there, Martin,
and he's
wasn't
got
it?
a lovely wife.
You were somebody...
Sorry, he wasn't amazing. But to interrupt you, Piers, a minute, he wasn't amazing at all. He was just one more student. Nobody had heard of him at all.
No, what I meant was...
He was just a young student.
I actually was talking about your own involvement. You felt passionately about apartheid being removed and about racial equality.
Yes, I was. We set up a committee in this country about that, and I was very involved with that. We were rather a nuisance, really, but it worked in the end. Did you know Trevor Huddleston by name?
Yes, of course.
He was very much involved, great friend of mine, and Archbishop of the Indian Ocean, rather improbably. No, I was very involved in that, and thank God we got rid of it.
Quite right. Martin, you've had an extraordinary life, and now we've all seen you take this vaccine, this moment in history on the first day. What is your message to people who might be hesitant or reluctant to take the vaccine?
Well, I think it'd be foolish of them to be reluctant about it if it means the chance of them behaving normally instead of being worried they might get the horrible bug. I've avoided it so far, and my children were very pleased. And I just had the idea that I'd get on the telephone to guys and see if I can go and be vaccinated. Quite sure why I did, but I thought, let's get on with it.
And you've had no side effects so far?
Well, I'm not sure. You'll never quite know at my age which of the things that... no, I'm not at all. I had a very good night's sleep. I dreamt the night before. Never done that before, so there was obviously a portent of what was happening.
What was the dream you had?
And, well, lots of people came to dinner, and I can remember who they were, and they had wives and that sort of thing, which I don't normally do. I don't dream, very odd. And woke up suddenly at 8:30 yesterday morning and said, I'll ring up Guy's Hospital and see that I can come and be vaccinated, full stop.
Absolutely brilliant. And you drove yourself there. You couldn't get a parking space, which is no surprise to anyone who's tried to park around Guy's.
Oh, absolute hell. Now, I normally go on the bus to Guy's, of course, and walk. But I now have taken to driving my car everywhere to avoid being poisoned by other people or poisoning them.
It's an extraordinary thing that you dreamt, Martin, about a social event, about being with other people. And it was almost that which, you know, sort of subconsciously pricked your conscience to go and get the vaccine. Because, of course, if everybody gets the vaccine, we can once again be around a dinner table safely with each other again, which is something...
Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. No, it's very important indeed that we do have it. I really do beg people to go and be vaccinated. And I do hope that the hospitals make it very easy to happen.
Martin, how are your grandchildren...
They were very good indeed at Guy's.
Martin, how are your grandchildren coping with...
How are they?
No, how are they coping with your TV stardom?
Well, they're having to cope with their grandfather, of course. He's a bloody nuisance. But they're very loving and delightful, and I'm very, very fond of them. I've got two lovely daughters, Eliza and Nina, Eliza has a lovely partner, whom I call my son Outlaw, because I have a younger one, Nina, who is married to my son-in-law. And they have 2 children. Well, you know about them, Molly and Leo.
And you're going to be able to
They're great
have...
fun. You'd like them very much.
And if they're watching this interview,
They're
Martin, if they're watching now, what would you like to say to
We're
them?
all going... Oh, well, see, I'm very much looking forward to us all being together for Christmas in Shropshire.
Yeah.
I'm a Shropshire lad, and I have a lovely view of the Welsh mountains from where I am there. One of the finest views in Western Europe, I always say. And I shall be there. I drive there. It's a simple drive. Don't tell them, but the motorway haven't. The police haven't discovered the motorway. It takes me there.
We'll keep that quiet.
I won't give you the number.
Martin, your secrets are safe with us, and we're thrilled to have you on the programme, and thrilled that you've had the vaccine, and you send such a great message, I think, to people.
They must get it.
They must get it. Well, let's talk to 2 other people who've had it. Dr. Harry Shukla, father of 4, who's got 9 grandchildren. And Dr. Shukla, you're there with Ranjan, your wife, and it's great to see both of you. What motivated you to have the jab? Did you have a dream?
Well, 2 reasons. One, actually, I know that it's safe, and I feel very confident and happy. And hopefully the life would come back to normal. But the second thing was that I would be able to help others and encourage them to have vaccination, because it's so important. And again, there is fear of the unknown, and there are some people who perhaps were not quite clear. And I feel that it's safe, it's wonderful, and our scientists have worked tremendously hard, to produce this vaccine. And we are very, very fortunate in the world that we have it. And so I thought, that by involving myself in this, I would be able to help my friends and relatives in the country.
Well, quite right. And Ranjan, have you had any side effects, either of you, since you had the first jab?
No, not yet. I had a very little swollen arm. Last night, I thought I wouldn't be able to sleep, but I slept all right. And no side effect at the moment, no.
And how do you feel about being one of the first to have the vaccine? And what is your message to people who may be a little bit worried about taking it?
No, I say that you'll just take it. It is safe. And as Harry said, that scientists have been working for all these months to produce this vaccine. We will all be waiting. So why now wait and not take it? Just take it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.